These are the top potential free agents. Potential, again, some of these guys have options, but we did ask Avery Johnson to put together a list of his top unrestricted free agents heading into the offseason. So let's welcome in Avery Johnson, also Rip Hamilton with that list. Let's start at the very top. And Avery, you're going with Zach LaVine, 27 years old, getting better every year. And I got to tell you, the rumors around him are all over the place. Does he stay with the Bulls? Does he go to the Mavs? Does he go to Spurs, your former team? Why is he at the top?
Well, first of all, the reports are saying that the Bulls are split on whether they want to give Zach LaVine the max. I say give it to him. Again, you mentioned 27 years old, coming off of a season where he averaged 24 points. He's a young man that I think is capable of being one of those 180 guys, shoot 90% from the free throw line, 40% from the three-point line, and 50% from the field. He's got that capability. He had his first playoff run, even though they got swept this year. His numbers dropped in the playoffs, but I think, with time and maturity, he'll continue to get better. DeMar DeRozan took a lot of the spotlight this year with the Chicago Bulls with the outstanding year that he had, but it's very rare that you can go in the free agent market and find a player like Zach LaVine. So unless the Bulls have a better plan, because if they allow him to walk with no compensation, I don't think this guy is replaceable. So I think they should re-sign him, give him the max, continue to allow him, he and DeMar DeRozan, to be that 1-2 punch. They took a step forward this year. There was a stretch where they were first in the Eastern Conference until the injuries set in. So I got Zach LaVine first in terms of my unrestricted free agents.
Yeah, I would have to agree with Coach. I mean, when you look at Zach LaVine, man, he's a dynamic player. He can do it in multiple facets of the game. He can score inside out. But the biggest question mark I always have about Zach LaVine, you got all the God-gifted talent, but are you a winner? And I think that's the question mark that Chicago is trying to figure out. Can this guy actually be the guy that can lead us to the promised land? Yeah, DeMar DeRozan's had a great year, and I would love to see Zach LaVine and Ball and all three of them out on the floor together. So if I'm Chicago, I got to sign him back. Just knowing how old DeMar DeRozan is, DeMar DeRozan is playing well, especially in his 30s, which a lot of people didn't expect it. But you still got to have a young guy. Zach is only 26 years old. He can get a bucket. Defensively, he still has to be better. But what I'm hearing is that Zach is trying to get back to the West Coast. He's a West Coast native. But if I'm Chicago, I'm not trying to let him go, because it took him time to find another guy that can kind of be the face of the franchise when Derrick Rose, went down with an injury, then ended up going to another team, and then the same thing with Jimmy Butler. So they actually found their guy, and they got a great great connection with him and DeMar. So I would do everything possible to try to keep these two guys intact.
Zach LaVine coming in at number 1, Avery number 2 on your list. You got JALEN BRUNSON. I'm not sure if there's anybody else this postseason who elevated his stock a little bit more. He will be an unrestricted free agent. Tell us why he's coming in number 2 on your list here.
Yeah, JALEN BRUNSON was outstanding, and I had a front row seat at a lot of those Mavs games to watch him, and I coached against this kid when I coached in college, and he was at Villanova, and he's significantly, I agree with you, man, to help himself in the offseason, especially in that first-round series, those first couple of games when Luka Doncic was out with that calf injury. Sure, Spencer Dinwiddie had his moments, but it was all the JALEN BRUNSON show, and to prove that you can play at a high level in the playoffs, help your team for the first time in 11 years, 10 or 11 years, advance past the first round in the playoffs and get to the Western Conference Finals, upset the Phoenix Suns in Game 7 in Phoenix. It wasn't just the Luka Doncic show. It was JALEN BRUNSON. If Luka was Batman, he was Robin, and he improved it. He obviously has the mid-range game, the shot fakes, getting to the basket, much improved three-point shooter. And I know my buddy Rip Hamilton said he's in New York. He's probably somewhere close to the Madison Square Garden. I know the New York Knicks are going to be the first team to try to sign JALEN BRUNSON. They're going to be beating down his door to try to convince him to play with the Knicks. But my old friend Mark Cuban is going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, coach. The one thing you know about Jalen Brunson, he's a winner. And he showcased that when he was at the University of Villanova. And now he's getting the opportunity to showcase his game at the highest level. And you got to give a lot of credit to Jason Kidd, man. Jason Kidd is a scientist when it comes to this game of basketball. And when you got a guy like Jalen Brunson that get an opportunity to learn from one of the great GOATs at the point guard position, it's only going to help you. I seen Jalen every summer come to Ocean City, New Jersey to work out in the gym when nobody else is looking. That's when I always look at kids and say, all right, you know what, when nobody's watching you and you're in the gym by yourself, how are you going to work? Are you just going to go through the motions, or are you just going to come in the gym and just get shots up? Jalen is a guy that's coming in the gym and he's going all out. And I just respect him so much just because his attitude, his leadership. And I would have to agree with you, Coach. Yes, the New York Knicks is probably one of them suitors that wants him bad, because if you look at Tom Thibodeau's offense over the years, I got a chance to play with him in Chicago. He needs a point guard. He needs a captain of a ship. He needs a guy that can be an extension of the coach out on the floor. But if I'm Dallas Mavericks, I'm trying to keep Jalen. He just made him some money, especially in a playoff situation. And you can just tell by his even kill out there, no moments was too big for him. He was a constant professional for this ball club all season long. So I just feel as though this guy has made himself a lot of money, especially in the playoffs.
Jalen Brunson, 25 years old. Someone else young with a bright future ahead of him, Malik Monk. He's coming in third on your list, Avery. This is someone who was also a quick riser this season with the Lakers there. This Lakers team, they got a lot to figure out, Avery, and he's probably going to want more than what they can offer. Talk to us about what you saw from Monk this season and why he's such a hot free agent.
Yeah, I hope the Lakers don't make the same mistake with Malik Monk that they made with Alex Caruso. You cannot allow talent that you've developed to just walk out the door. And Malik Monk obviously got off to a very slow start in his career with the Charlotte Hornets. But now, you know, he in his fifth season averaged his career high 13.8 points a game. He played in 76 games. This guy is a career 82% free throw shooter. So, you know, they've been a part of developing him and helping him grow and mature as an NBA player. And you cannot allow players that you've developed to walk out the door. And the Lakers desperately need help, especially help coming off the bench. Malik also can be a good guy to fill in as a starter. We know the Lakers now with LeBron at this stage of his career and guys like Anthony Davis, they're a little bit injury prone. So you're going to need guys to be able to step in. So if I'm the Lakers, I re-sign Malik Monk, continue to find those diamonds in the rough like the Malik Monks that they can bring in, and especially guys that can spread the floor. Because if you're going to continue to have this roster with LeBron James and Russell Westbrook on it and Anthony Davis, you need people that can make three-point shots. And here's a guy that almost averaged close to 40% from the three-point line. So it's in the best interest of the Lakers to re-sign Malik Monk.
And to add that to what Coach said is, and Coach, you got to remember, Malik Monk took less money to come to the Los Angeles Lakers. He played for what, $1 million last season. This kid right here has all the gifts. When you look at the Lakers roster, they didn't have a whole lot of bright spots this season, but he was one of the bright spots. He's young, he's athletic, he gets in transition. And the one thing that I love about him, he can shoot the ball. When you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, what we all talked about all season long is they just didn't have enough shooters, especially when you got three guys on the floor that needs the ball in their hand with Russ and LeBron and AD. You got to add pieces to this roster that can really stroke the ball. I think Malik Monk has definitely played himself into a great role coming into free agency this year. I don't see him as a guy that is a huge difference maker on your roster. I think he's a piece to the puzzle, a guy that can fulfill a role. So when you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, they need guys that can fulfill a role, and Malik Monk can do that by the way he shoots the ball from the three-point line.
Taking a look at Avery Johnson's top 5 unrestricted free agents coming in behind Monk at number 4, Victor Oladipo. Avery, there's so much talk around this Heat team. Just try to keep them together to repeat what they did this season. What do you think about Victor Oladipo?
Well, I think Victor Oladipo is going to be a significant piece for Miami and their free agents evaluation. You know, do you re-sign Victor Oladipo? How's that going to affect your luxury tax numbers? Or do you try to include Victor Oladipo in some sign and trade, even with a Tyler Hero? Do you try to, call the Los Angeles Clippers and try to pry away a guy like a Paul George if you feel a Paul George and a Jimmy Butler helps you get over the hump, depending on what the Clippers want to do? But I think this is a win-win for the Miami Heat. You re-sign Victor Oladipo, run it back. You lost in Game 7 of the Eastern Conference Finals. Tyler Hero was injured. So in your mind, Kyle Lowry, he was at 70%. So do you run it back and Kyle Lowry's healthy, Hero's healthy, Jimmy Butler, continues to play at a high level? This is a guy that you can start. You can bring him off the bench. This was one of the reasons Victor Oladipo didn't want to re-sign with the Houston Rockets. He wanted out of Indiana because he wanted to be on the big stage. He had a chance to get there. So he got better and better as the season wore on. So I think Miami's in a really good spot right now where, again, they can leverage this unrestricted free agency situation, maybe try to include him in a sign and trade with one or two other guys to bring in a big piece, or just run it back, sign Victor Oladipo and run it back.
Avery finally coming. Oh, sorry. Nope, we got to hear from Rip.
Nah, you all good, Amanda. But Victor Oladipo is a guy I've been cheering for all season long, him and Klay Thompson. Guys that play the wing position that was been battling with injuries for the last couple years. And I feels like Victor really got his opportunity in the playoffs. Do I think he comes back to the Miami Heat? No, I don't. And the reason why is because, this guy right here mentally, he still believes that he's a star. He's still a guy that feels though that he can be a big time contributor for a playoff team. And if they didn't have injuries, Victor Oladipo would have probably been sitting on the bench and we'd have been wondering if Victor can still play. But he got that opportunity in the playoffs. He got an opportunity to showcase his game, not just as a great facilitator, a great guy on the offensive end, but he was also a guy that can really, get down and lock down on the defensive end. So I just feel as though mentally, he showed me mental toughness, because as a veteran guy that has so much success in the league, then you have to battle with injuries. Then you got to go on the bench, and you don't know when you're going to play or when the coach is going to put you in. That's tough. That's hard. A lot of guys break down in them type situations. He stayed ready. He came out there and performed and had great moments, had great flashes. So if I'm a team out there and I can get some of them flashes on more consistent basis, I think that I got to really take a real hard look at this guy right now, because he's been really playing really good basketball, especially in the playoffs.
All right, finally, number 5 on Avery's list here, Mitchell Robinson. Avery, you were talking about the Knicks earlier, eyeing Jalen Brunson. Excuse me, Mitchell Robinson's name has been linked to the Mavs a couple times. What about him?
Yeah, I think Mitchell Robinson is going to get a lot of love in here in the free agency. He's going to be well sought after. He's still relatively young player. He's fought through some injuries, but he's continued to get better. And when you can rebound and block shots, I know, offense sell tickets, but I think defense still wins championship. Look at the two teams, the best two defensive in the NBA. So I think Mitchell Robinson will look good in the Mavericks uniform. And keep your eyes on the Phoenix Suns. If they can't get anything done with DeAndre Ayton, that could be a potential landing spot for Mitchell Robinson.
Can we let Rip say something, please?
I think we're going to.
Okay.
Yeah, and also to add to that, hey, you know what? The New York Knicks had an opportunity to pay Mitchell Robinson, the mid-level exception early in the season. And some teams get caught in that situation. Should I sign a guy now or should I wait to the end of the season? And he done played himself into some money out there for his legacy, for his time out there on the floor.
Rip Hamilton, Avery Johnson, thank you guys so much. Going through Avery's top unrestricted free agents this season, there 1 through 5. Let's take a look at some key dates in the NBA that are coming up there. Of course, the biggest one, the draft. That is next, June 23rd.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.